Hello, hello, and welcome to the show because you are now tuned into a brand spanking new Monday Night Live. That's right, aka the Hangout Stream, aka the Chill Stream, baby. All fired up for March 20th, 2023, and brought to you by yours truly, the man broadcasting from behind the curtain. You know who I am. Because if you don't know by now, you can visit www.livefreeliverich.com or simply Google this name and you can find out. How you guys doing? Did you have a week or what? Let me give you the rundown for tonight. We have, let me start off by just letting those of you who were mentioned in this video know that it's because I have a Booktube tag video lined up for the end of the show. So that's probably why you're tagged in this video. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can just go ahead and skip to the end if that's what you want to do. Now, for those of you who do spooky year round, I got your fix of thrills and chills ready to rock and roll. And speaking of thrills, I have a prison break story for reading time tonight. And I have your comments, hot topics, and much, much more. But before I get into all that, first things first, I like to take this time to slide right inside my first segment of the night, where I like to shine a spotlight on some books. Yes, that are currently available or coming soon to an online store near you. And here tonight to help me get things started, I have a visitor with me. And from writing, acting, directing, to performing live on stage, whether it be for plays, the music industry, or doing stand-up comedy, my guest is a regular day Renaissance man, Thomas J. Bellezza. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Hey, I feel bad that I don't have my Renaissance hat on, like the big fancy one with the feather.
Yes.
Maybe a frilly shirt. I feel underdressed now, but I appreciate the intro.
I put the extra effort in for you.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, Crosby? So yeah, we're going to be talking about, let's see, your book, just simply entitled She.
Oh, yeah.
So let me get you over here and get you all set up.
You're magic. I didn't know you had magic hands.
This is just like that.
It's pretty good. I almost had whiplash from that. I'll just be honest with you. Oh, look at that. Hey, that's my book.
I got you all set up fancy.
Yeah, that's a pretty book. Look at that.
Maybe tell us a little bit what this is all about.
Well, for starters, a little insight. Jonathan doesn't know this, but I've known him a long time before he knew me, and that's his picture as the female before he cut his hair. I just like to point. I was like, "That's some jawline. I need it." And
that was pre-transition.
Yeah, it's pre-transition. So, gentlemen, you're out of luck. He no longer looks that good. He's attractive, but for a man, but not as all men say, all men are ugly to all men, unless of course you like men, then they just smell weird. So you just want me to talk a little bit about a book? I guess I'll read the back of the book without reading it.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just give you the summarized, abridged,
sure.
Without the actual bridge. We're not going across San Francisco Bridge. We're going over the harbor over here. This is just a collection of poems, lyrics, and philosophical thoughts, specifically from a character that comes from the novel world of my epic fantasy books. There's a character called Lord Telmorn Altanian. That's the mortal name he's given, but he's
an alter ego, if you will.
Yes. The not only the alter ego, but this is the alter ego. That's the real person.
Oh, okay.
No, just kidding. So, the Telmorn character is the first god in that world, is the god of creation. So there's philosophical thoughts from the perspective of the god in the book. And then the lyrics are from my bands that I've had over the years. And then, of course, the poetry is a collection of poems from 2006 till 2018, I believe. And I was just like, I have this collection of poems. Why don't I just throw it in a book? It was a present to myself, basically. I not that we have to get all emotional, but in 2016 I was diagnosed with cancer. I beat the cancer, and clearly, and then I said to myself, you know what, I'm gonna publish those poems, and then I did. So I didn't actually market this book per se, but it's out there and exists.
And it says, well, I'm looking at the blurb here. So song, it does include, when you said song lyrics. So you were in a band, a studio band called, I'm looking at the alt one. Is it Alteon?
Well, it's actually Altanian. It's the last name
Altanian.
To the character Telmorn Altanian, which was the character I played in my original band when I toured around America and Canada. We all had stage names, and now you know where my stage name came from. It came from these worlds, these novel worlds.
And the other band is Tenebrae.
It's Latin, Tenebra, or backwards, it's Irbinet. It's your choice.
Okay. Now was that the first band that you were in, and then Alteon came up after that?
Actually, if you'd like a little scoop, my first band ever with two buddies of mine, both named Pete. So it was Pete and Repeat. The band's name was Sperm.
All right.
And we were like a grunge band.
I'll just go ahead and take that off the list. And true. All right.
Good times. Good times.
So, and that was at the, what was that? At the tender age of 15?
Ish. Yeah. It was the crux of my downfall. But yeah,
well, before we get into the fun facts, let me get back to this for a second. Let me ask you a question. Who is she?
I have no idea.
Does she have a name?
She does. She is nature.
She's the one who got away.
She is not. It is not a human form.
Oh, okay.
If you read the poem "She," which I know you haven't yet because you don't have the book, it talks about like nature and the mountains and rivers. So she is basically nature. It's existence, and I gave it a feminine form. Why not? Do I believe that? Who knows? It was just something that came to me one day while I was writing, and I was looking at existence in a feminine light, and I gave it some feminine features, and then it became one of the poems that people liked the most. So when I decided to name the book, I named it after that poem because that was what led to me feeling like I could write poetry when I was younger. People were just like, it was a good poem. I was like, all right, well, if you say so.
So what you mean to say is a little bit more on the sentimental side versus, the Andrew Dice Clay hickory dickory dock.
Oh,
there's none of that in there. No Bukowski types esque.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like I went up to the top of the hill, came back with $1.50, so
so more sentimental, more personal type of stuff. Well, through your alter ego.
Well, yeah, I mean, the philosophical message in the book is through the alternate ego. The poems themselves were just things that I did to kind of work through, emotions, thoughts,
so
ideas.
That's the personal stuff.
Yeah, yeah. All the poems are personal. The lyrics usually tend to move towards the Telmorn character because, again, I played that character as the singer and lead guitarist, or I should just say guitarist. And so the lyrics are also in the vein of that character, but the poems are probably more me than anything else. If you meet a girl,
strikes me as kind of like a very like artsy type of project, like a cross between like a collection and like almost like a journal / memoir.
Correct.
Type of deal.
I would say that's accurate because I also this book is annotated, so it has thoughts and ideas like at the bottom of the pages. about some of the poems, or just while I was writing it, if something happened, I was like, as a joke, there's one entry where it's like, just for the record, as I was editing this page, the dog literally farted, and I cannot breathe right now. So you'll find moments like that, but also there's these deep, like, exploratory moments where
it's not all navel gazing. In other words, is what
correct.
You try to break it up and kind of reel it in a little bit and say, "Hey guys, listen, my dog freaking stinks right now."
Yeah, exactly. And my humor's in there. There's a lot of humor. There's the poems are very poem, like what you expect of a poem, but the annotations, it's like me. It's literally like if we were reading it together, and I was like, oh, by the way, this, there's also like helpful hints in there, and like advice, but it's like relationship advice. There's business advice. There's my thoughts on things. Sometimes it's not on every page, but when they hit, like for example, I have one that's like, good relationships begin with listening. A great one when you hear, by Tom, and that's like a thought. It's annotated, but it's in reference to the poem, praise to my closing eye. So even though it has nothing, it's its own thing. Like I'll do that. I'll comment on stuff like that.
All right. Well, let's get in. Let me play a little game with you real quick.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
True.
This is true. True, false. This is a little TJB trivia, if you will. Okay. But so this is information that I looked up about you as an artist online. This is public information that I looked up. And I'm just going to read some statements, and then you can answer those statements with true, false, or I'm going to have to pass on that one.
You paid for my OnlyFans.
That's the name of the game. True, false, or I'm going to pass on that one.
I'm going to have to pass on that one. Imagine I said it for everyone. I'm going to have to pass.
Yeah.
Be the worst guest ever.
See, that's the thing is like, I was just like I just thought of this tonight, and I was just kind of like whipping it together, and I was like, I really, if I had a little extra time, I think I could have came up with some like funny ones to just like toss at you, just like curveballs.
That's funny.
No. So this is what we have. We're gonna wrap this up here. I have Thomas J. Bellezza first opened BBR Productions Inc. to the public in 1997 as an illustration company working on dark novels, commissioned artworks, and storyboarding for comic books.
That is true.
I did not know that. We did not even touch upon that when the last time you and I had a chance to talk. So you're into comic books for a little bit. Yeah. Horrible. Did not like it.
Did not like it. The guy I actually worked for, I'm not going to give his name out, but him and his wife went to jail for having a threesome with a slightly undeveloped a teenager with Down syndromes.
Oh my God.
True. True. I will not pass on that. I will use it. I only say that because my favorite thing about my interaction
with tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the show.
We are canceled. I say that because that man told me that I will never be successful, and I'm going to hell because I don't believe in Jesus. And I just like that 20 years later, I am not in prison for
winning.
Yeah, I'm winning.
Winning.
I got tiger blood.
Didn't go to jail for doing weird stuff. Was now that's the second one. Was accidentally really kicked in the man parts by co-star Mark Quinn while filming a fight scene in the movie All in the Course.
His name is Mark Schwann. It's French.
Schwann.
He's French. He's the Schwann and only. That is true. I was I choreographed it with a fellow friend, and while we were filming, he decided that restraint was not part of the process. So
It'd be more realistic that way.
it was realistic for the first 30 minutes of me trying to find myself. But yeah, a fun story about that. We never released the movie, but it got finished. And that fight scene, we actually got it down where we could run through it without cutting. Like we could just do like run throughs. And that's how I originally wanted to film it. I was directing it, but the cinematographer was like, no, let's do quick shots, get closer. And then, you could, so I basically had to cut it where like, it looked like I was watching, what's that movie with Liam Neeson where it's, where his kid gets taken? Oh, Taken. So it was like, it got cut up like that. And I was just like, but for the record, he and I, Mark Schwann and I, we had the fight where I made it so we were so good at it that we could film it in one long take and then film another long. Like I just wanted to get long takes of it, but it looks like we didn't know what we were doing. So
I'm fascinated by all the different mediums that you've been involved in over the years.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. You got it.
You're running, but you also have, so you are on YouTube as well. For those who don't know, with your channel, The Right Mindset.
Yeah. So The Right Mindset is a channel that's dedicated to the craft of writing, those in the industry for writing. And then it's not really like quote unquote a business about writing, but I do touch on business. Like in the lesson videos, I might like kind of ramble on about something. But it is dedicated to the craft of writing and from my perspective. And as we know, there's many ways a person can write, and there are many tools, and there are many ways we can utilize those tools. And I'm sure you've seen the videos. I'm very upfront with, this is just my perspective on it. This is just how I use it. This is just trying to get you to realize there are other ways to enhance your writing skills. So, but I do see some people say,
I like watching your outline videos because you'll go in depth. You just point by point by point, you're going in depth with an entire outline. So you're the first person, at least that I've seen on like in the Authortube sphere, that will go through an outline like that. Point by point, beat by beat like that. So, I just find it fascinating. I do a little bit of plotting on my with my stuff. I consider myself kind of like the planter. That's the stage that I'm at, kind of the in between, where it's like I want to have a story going into it, so I already want to have an idea. But yeah, your plotting videos, I like those. You also do author interviews as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, my first interview was on your channel, or I should say, my only interview as of right now. I just started getting into it this year.
You want me to interview you right now on your show, and it'll be like a second interview?
We'll save it. We'll save it for next season. We gotta have something to look forward to, right?
That's right. Forth. We'll get you back on.
But yeah, author interviews. How's that going?
It's going well. I finished up the second season. That'll air. The final episode will air on, not the date your show, because when either Thursday or the something, but the final episode will be up soon. It's already scheduled, and then we'll be getting the third season will be more table discussions. More topical.
Now, do you feel, serious question? Like with this whole like content creating thing and everything, and like trying to network and stuff, do you feel like you are making connections, like with these, like with people, like, are these people, like, do you feel like, how do I word it? Like, do you feel like this is like something where it's like you could reach out to these people again, and it's kind of like a, like these are connections that are going to kind of like have like that longevity type of deal?
Well, let me
because I feel like go ahead. Sorry.
Let me create a foundation for that question, so I can give you an answer with some weight to it instead of just saying yes or no. In reality, success isn't based on what others do; it's based on what we do. So, when it comes to networking and building and cultivating those relationships, yeah, I may have interviews with people, but it's my job to keep up with them. It's not their job to keep up with me. And there'll come a point where we become friends and now they may put time into me. But in reality, I'm not responsible for their behavior. I'm responsible for mine. So to answer your question, I don't expect a relationship out of it from them, but I do expect myself to keep up with them like I do with you. Like I watch your videos. I interact with your videos. I talk to you. We message each other.
I will say this much. It's definitely, it definitely can feel like, almost like a second job in it and of itself. Yeah. Just being real with it. It definitely, like with the whole like networking thing online, and trying to keep tabs with people and keep up with what's going on in the scene, like all around, because it can, like, I feel like it does not take long before your list, like the virtual Rolodex, if you will, starts filling up, and and then you got to kind of sift and sort, like, okay, who was feeling it, who was not feeling it, that type
well,
of
if they're
deal.
feeling it, you got to buy them dinner, but in reality, though, you shouldn't look at it as a long list. You should look at it as sectional. On Monday, Wednesday, Fridays will be my Twitter people. Tuesdays will be my Instagram people. Thursday will be my YouTube people. Whatever the case may be. But also, like, if you build your list up, you don't have to contact everybody all the time, but you can start at the top and dedicate time. I don't go, I need to finish this list. I have a time block that's dedicated to networking, and it's 30 minutes long. And for 30 minutes, I'll start at the top of my list and go down. And then wherever I stop, the next time I have a networking block, I just start where I stopped.
Well, some people think that networking is a dirty word, though.
It is.
Well, I mean, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I disagree with that statement. Networking is the fundamental foundation of life. If we do not have relationships, if we do not build and cultivate connections with people, then we are in our own ether of the nothingness. Like, who cares about the book then? Who cares about the things we do? Who cares about our perspectives, our opinions? Even though opinions have no real weight, because let's be honest, anything anyone believes, someone else could disbelieve. And, what's it going to do? If you don't believe what I believe, like, it doesn't change anything, right? But you do want to connect with people, and you want to be able to relate to people. And you can't do that without, quote unquote, networking. And, I was talking to you earlier before the show started about my self-help book, and it goes into networking and how it's not really networking. It's cultivating relationships. It's building relationships. It's just, you have to isolate it.
And we have talked about that before, and the whole like cultivating relationships thing. And it's like, in a perfect world, or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, I feel like, you want to have it so, everyone would like it. So everyone would like to just be discovered, right? Just sit back, kick back, relax, just, check your email every now and then, do a social post, every other day or something. And, all these people are just going to come out of the woodwork and just organically, that's the word, organically just discover your greatness, and it's like, if everybody, I feel like the just to kind of piggyback on the networking thing, is like, I feel like if everybody had that kind of attitude, that everything just happens, quote unquote, organically, then nothing would ever get done.
Correct.
Like I think that if anybody who's ever made anything of themselves, they were a mover and shaker. They were the ones making moves. They were the ones shaking things up. They were the ones stepping outside of their comfort zone, and and reaching out and doing things, and
Correct.
being proactive.
Yeah.
So
1000%. And to add to your statement earlier, just before, you're not supposed to be networking with your audience. you're supposed to be networking with your circle of influence, right? And your circle of influence aren't people that can influence your career. They're people that influence better habits, changes, philosophies, right? Your audience, you market to. And like you said, we want to be discovered. So if you post something on your social media, that's instantly marketing. That's not networking. Networking is us. You like if you want to network, you have to put time into someone else. The moment you do that, you are now networking. But if you post something, that's marketing. It's you're expecting exposure from that post, right? So even in that case, you have to write something that is going to connect with people emotionally on some sort of level. So that's why if you post something about your animal and how you were good with the animal and the animal made you were cuddling the animal, it gets 1,000 likes. But if you go, my book is out, no one cares, because the emotional truth is we've all experienced something with an animal that we could relate to, right? So how do you make a book relatable? You don't. It's not about the book. It's about
I'm sure I could get you going on that topic for like
forever.
another half hour, 45 minutes.
It's my area of expertise.
I just wanted to get a little extra something out of you, but you as far as that goes. But before I let you go, speaking of books, do you have an indie book or an indie author that you would like to shout out, or perhaps another like a indie content creator, like if someone was interested in discovering more from the independent market?
Well, there's this guy, Jonathan Rossignol.
You're not going to do that to me, are you?
So Jody J. Sperling, Sperling, excellent man, very nice guy. Also has a podcast.
Is he on YouTube?
He is on YouTube, but really, Twitter is his big forte.
Okay.
You can find him basically Jody J. Sperling. That's his @ on Twitter. He does the reluctant book marketer because he's like you. I don't want to put time into marketing, but he knows he has to, so he's reluctant to it. He's a very nice guy. He's a family man, and not that I'm a family man. I don't need kids, but he's somebody I discovered through networking on social media, and he and I still talk. We talk on the phone and stuff like that. So, and we've never met each other in person. So there you go.
All right. Well, I thank you for coming on and giving me your time and talking about that book that you have there. And can you want to share anything else like that you have coming down the pipeline, like as far as writing and publishing goes, that maybe people can might have to look forward to from you, or
Sure.
as well as anything coming up with your YouTube channel?
I think the best
or
way,
authors, if authors want to get in contact with you.
If authors want to get in contact with me, my phone number is 555. So the best way to get in touch with me and to check on what's going on, you go to makearightlefthehere.com. Again, that's makearightlefthehere.com. Do you have what it takes to make a right left here, right? So everything that exists in my life, including the news of my updates, because it's the traveling adventures of a resilient entertainer. You could go there. It'll take you to my YouTube channels, specifically The Right Mindset. It'll take you to whatever you need to know, any updates on the books. The website's actually getting an overhaul. It'll be changed up slightly over the next month, and it'll be more The Right Mindset focused, but the website will still exist. The makearightlefthehere.com will be the URL. Did you just check it out? You looked at it? You saw how crazy I look on there?
I just put it in chat.
Oh, you did?
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you, John, for having me. And you said it's $50 to be interviewed. What do I Venmo that to you, or
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Take care.
All right, be good.
Bye. Inside baseball there, folks. All right. What's going on in the chat? What's going on in the chat? Hey, Sam's here. Just wanted to let you know that I just had a snack. You had a snack. Okay. All right. Yes, I'm glad that you can. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Inside joke. I have no snacks. I do keep gum handy, though. I do chew gum. All right, let's get into some of these other books here. Continue along. I was joking with Sam last night. She was doing a live stream. You mentioned something about snacks. I said, women and their snacks. They always have snacks. If you're ever hungry, just go to the nearest woman, and she's probably got snacks in her purse. Oh, no, it's not. I'm just kidding with you, Sam. Oh, she ate it already. Hey, D.A. Bell. How are we doing? Rainer Chen. What's going on with you? What is this, Rainer Chen? Rainer writes, was just watching a video about how Chinese web serial writers making easily millions of dollars per year. And you are depressed AF right now. No, I am sorry to hear that. Why? Why would that make you depressed? Wouldn't that be a good thing? You're Chinese, right? Why don't you just write some Chinese serials? D.A. Bell's writing right now. All right, let me get this set up here. Oh, is that what you get into? You get into those YAs? The Savior Sisters? The Savior's Sister? I could have asked you that. What genres you read? So let's see. We have Jason Whittle here. Says match postponed, game off. Missing the football? Don't. Get your fun football fix free here instead. And this is The Biggerest Ask and Other Football Stories by Jason Whittle. All right. There is the cover, and you know what comes next? Here is the blurb. In the main story, non-league minnows AFC Ghoul make it through to the FA Cup third round and draw the most glamorous tie possible. Can they pull off a miracle, or does humiliation lie in wait? Oh, so is this football as in soccer football? Other stories and anecdotes feature an award-winning Southampton FC story and the greatest hits from 6 seasons of writing columns for the Chester FC Matchday program. So, soccer. A little bit of soccer for you guys. You guys soccer fans out there? You watch a 3-hour game? You watch a 3-hour game to see people tie it up at the end? 153 pages. 153 pages of football action and other stories. All right, let's moving right along here. Let me get through these. You guys keeping it active in the chat. I like that. This comes from the Graveside Bride. Says authors of Twitter, my ghost story, The Graveside Bride by Angela Goldsmith, is here at Goodreads and Kindle Unlimited. Shares a link to The Graveside Bride, Mr. Bone Jangles. Mr. Bone Jangles. Are we sure we're renting the right movie here? By Angela Goldsmith. All right, The Graveside Bride. On a dark, tumultuous night, and at the dying of the light, so begins Mr. Lawrence Pinchpenny's descent into a long, tormented, and haunted night, visited by the mysterious, frightening, and ghostly apparition of the Woman in Gray, the specter of fearsome Graveside Bride. But why does she haunt his dreams? The story set in 1874 and is a ghostly and gothic tale of woe. Wrecking her revenge seems to be the sole motivation of this ghastly phantom. I think that's wreaking. Wreaking her revenge seems to be the sole motivation of this ghastly phantom. But why does she haunt Mr. Lawrence Pinchpenny? Mr. Lawrence Pinchpenny is merely a lowly solicitor in a prominent London law firm. But the titular Graveside Bride wishes to force him to experience feelings of guilt, regret, and despair. Why is this malevolent spirit from beyond the grave so intent on revenge? Why can she not rest in peace? And what role could Mr. Pinchpenny have had in her sorry tale? Written in rhyme, this gothic tale of mystery, The Graveside Bride, is a short story which shares themes with Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven and with Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. I was going to say, definitely getting Christmas Carol vibes from that one. 219 pages. Wait, didn't you say a short story? It's a pretty long short story. It's more like a novel. All right. All right, one more book for this segment. And this one's coming from Facebook. Melvise Johnson writes, Secrets of the Spirit World Revealed, Angels, Demons, and Spiritual Warfare in Pictures by Dr. Celeste Blow. over 80 authentic pictures of the spirit world. A photo album, a photography book. And this is Secrets of the Spirit World Revealed. All right, there it is. We are living in the end times. That is a great opening line for a blurb, I have to say. We are living in the end times. God told the prophet Daniel to seal up the book until the time of the end. Now is the time all things, including the unseen spirit world, are being revealed. All in the body of Christ has a part to play. This book is Dr. Celeste Blow's piece of the prophetic puzzle of the end times revelations being unsealed by the living God. Daniel 12 prophetic declaration and Dr. Blow's revelations are unambiguous evidence of God's use of his servant to bring to pass a message from heaven. Dr. Blow is humbled by God's love to use her to give the world evidence of heaven. The veil between the spirit and the natural world is being removed to prepare the world for the prophetic events of the physical arrival of the Antichrist, Satan, and the return of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. And every eye will see him. Repent in preparation for the rapture and judgment day. We are living in fearful times, and Dr. Blow included a bonus of 365 Fear Not Peace scriptures to help you on your journey during the unfolding at warp speed, the prophetic events of the Bible we are witnessing. Read, meditate, and commit to your memory one scripture per day. I will say that I am actually, I actually am quite impressed by people who are able to just kind of like quote scripture, kind of just like off the cuff. I've read the Bible before, but I couldn't be bothered to be able to recite any scripture right off the top of my head. But those are the books. Those are the books for this week, ladies and gentlemen. And be sure to tune in. If you're watching this on the replay, you can head on over to the community tab. But usually in post-production, by the end of the show, I just go ahead and I add to the community tab, and you can vote for which one out of those 4 books you thought had the most text appeal. That's right. In other words, which one out of those 4 books would you be most likely to pick up? And if you would like to discover more from the independent market, you can head on over to my shorts tab or my playlist tab and open up some mystery packs. Inside each mystery pack, there is a cover card that reveals a book from the independent market that was recognized by the Live Free, Live Rich network and includes a link in the description to an editorial written on that book by yours truly. I actually found out something cool this week. So I made it on my website. I already fixed it up on my website, and I put a post on Twitter as well. But basically, I made it so they're like, the whole thing is like they're mystery packs, right? So the whole thing is like you're not supposed to know what you get when you open up a pack. but obviously there's a video format. So you click on the video, so you know what video you're clicking. So I found a way that I can actually link to the playlist, and what the link will do is it will pick a random video from the playlist. So it's pretty cool. So it's like you're clicking on my website. I have the mystery pack on there in the entertainment section, and then you can click on the mystery pack and it'll just pop up like a random video from that playlist. So it's almost like you're opening up a mystery pack and you don't know what you're going to get. So I just thought that was pretty cool. I've been meaning to do something with that, but basically that's my way of utilizing YouTube Shorts tab, because I am not a fan of the short form content, not in the least. Let's get caught up on the comments here, see what's going on. So D.A. Bell, China and Japan have a stronger market in web novels and serials. So I've been told. That's what Rainer's been telling me. You seem to be into that stuff too. We were talking on the Discord a little bit. Didn't you bring up something about that? I see you're talking about the Savior Sisters. You don't watch sports? It's been a while for me. I used to watch NFL. Pro wrestling, except the occasional pro wrestling match on YouTube. Been trying to watch old school, Mid-South wrestling and AWA. That's like the old school. What are you talking about? Wait, what is that? Mid-South wrestling, the AWA? Is that like super old school? What is that, like Haystack Calhoun days? I want to believe. That's the thing. I grew up, grew up in a time where it seemed like somebody knew somebody who's seen a ghost or had a ghost story. So I grew up with there's plenty of people like within my circles that like there was someone that had a ghost story to tell, but I was never one of those people. I can never say with any, I can never say that I've had a genuine like ghost encounter or paranormal or experienced any kind of like what I would consider paranormal activity. I want to believe, and it's not that I don't believe people that have ghost stories, because who am I to invalidate? You know what I mean? I'm skeptical, but I want to believe. Like I'm not a dick about it and be like, oh no, that you're making shit up. I want to believe. I've just never seen it with my own eyes, and yeah, that's about it. Never experienced it. I don't know if I want to though. At the same time, I want to believe, but at the same time, I don't think I would want to. I don't think I would want to experience that. However, I could probably handle it. I could probably handle it better, at my age now versus like, say, when I was younger or something like that. Most definitely. Whereas now, like, yeah, it would be really freaking strange, and I imagine it would be pretty shocking. Like, say, for instance, like just seeing something like randomly like floating, like seeing an object like randomly like floating around in a room or something like that. Yeah, that would probably freak me out. But I would like to think that I probably wouldn't completely lose my shit over it. As long as it wasn't like pulling knives out of the you know, pulling out knives and like hurling them across the room. Probably. It probably was nonfiction. Spiritual and religious, categorized under like spiritual, religious. You've had 2 out-of-body experiences. So like astral projection. Is that what you're telling me right now? That you've actually had done like a astral projection thing? There was a movie on YouTube that I watched. It was a horror movie, and it was just like, well, allegedly it was a horror movie. It was really cheesy, and it was bad, and it was on astral projection. And you know how they do that sometimes? Like in horror movies, I think like sometimes like it's the gimmick thing. I was talking about that before. Like with horror movies, gimmicks are big, and that was this movie's gimmick. So the whole gimmick of the movie revolved around the idea of astral projection. So they just like take that one idea, which is astral projection, and then they run with it. Of course, there's going to be that spot. It was like these college kids, and they're talking to their professor, and the professor is into these type of like metaphysical. It was like a metaphysics type of class or something like that. And of course, that's like an opportunity for the professor to just kind of like give exposition on this whole deal. And then of course, the kids have the scenes in the library where they're looking up the information in the library. And it was just poorly delivered. But it was just like a way to like, I almost feel like the movie was basically just a way to kind of like expose people to the idea of astral projection. Like if people have never heard of it before, sometimes I feel like that's like what some movies do. Like that's like the only purpose of the movie. It was just like some writer or producer, director had like the idea of like, hey, I'm really into astral projection right now. This stuff is really cool. I think I want to write a story just about this astral projection and just create something out there just so I can tell people about it. And that's all it is. Yeah, it got into like some weird, it got into like some weird shit about like shadow people and stuff. Like that was the entity or the monster or whatever in the movie. Let's get into some comments. Your comments matter. This is where I just talk about your comments that you guys leave throughout the week. And because my comment section is not there to satisfy the AI algorithm, my comment section is there to engage with those of you who choose of your own free will to give my videos the time of day. I'm very much appreciative of that. I'll make sure I give you guys my time in that same way. Let's see what we got. I think we just have the comment from last week to get to. Okay. Okay, so this comes from Wrestling with Words channel. And I believe that was Cameron, if I'm not mistaken. He says, someone new to the channel anyways. And so this was from last week's stream. He says, hey, thanks so much for watching and for the shout out. I really appreciate your thoughts and comments. Left 4 Dead 2 was also a personal favorite of mine. too. These do take time to make, but it is always what is worth it is sharing these ideas and hopefully help teach people things. Looking forward to tuning into future streams of yours. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, we were watching last week. I was watching a video of his on world building, which was went pretty in depth. And he did a whole like video essay kind of production on it. D.A. Bell writes, I made a story about shadow people, except they're children. They steal teens and children and give them a whole new life somewhere else in the world. Families and friends, and they forget about them. Did you post it on your blog? All right, let's keep it moving. I want to get into some hot topic for you guys tonight. Let's jump right into some hot topic. Yes, hot topic for content creators. This is where I pitch a hot topic to you guys, and then you guys turn around and create your own content on said topic. And if you tag me in your video, then I may feature your video during a future broadcast. Or else you're always welcome to just go ahead and drop your comments down below. You know, really think about it. Take your time. You can lay out a nice long comment, and I will address your comments live on the air during a future broadcast. And I'll go through them kind of point by point as we continue to embroider these topics. And tonight's topic, we're going to revisit a topic that I've only kind of brushed the surface on so far. It's a very broad topic, many different subjects. And this is representation in fiction. Of course, those of you in the live chat, if you want to chime in during this segment when I'm reading this, please feel free. So what do we have for tonight? Oh yeah, I'll get into that. Let's see what we have for tonight. All right, representation in fiction. So there are several angles in which we can approach this topic, and today's subject is going to be a quickie. When it comes to representation in fiction, I often hear buzzwords get thrown around the old writing community. One thing that gets talked about quite a bit is the concept of a strong female character. I would like you guys to tell me what you think makes a female character strong. I have to say, it seems like nowadays, the strong female character might as well just be a man with boobs and a vajay. Whether it's in screenplays or modern literature, the strong female character is often portrayed as a battle-hardened badass who's ready to go to war and crush her enemies. Of course, this depends on the genre, but in fantasy especially, this seems to be the case more often than not. I can't help but wonder about this perpetual fascination with fantasizing about women being recognized as a warrior class. Or to take it a step further, she's the lone wolf who is capable of taking out throngs of grown men while dressed in her ironclad thong bikini. Mind you, it's the character, not the clothes, that I take issue with. In all seriousness, can female characters show signs of strong resolve without having to swing a sword or kick some douchebag in the balls? Are female characters capable of wielding power without turning into an absolute insufferable girl boss? These are the questions that need answers. If you can't provide these answers in the form of a story, then feel free to share your thoughts. That's THOUGHTS. And let's get this show on the road, shall we? No thought. No thoughts in the chat. Where are my thoughts in the chat at? No thoughts in the chat. The Mary Sue. If Thomas writes, if they are characters who aren't affected by what they go through, grow, and find themselves being challenged, then it's probably a Mary Sue. Yep, that's another one too. And I would say that's not a strong. The Mary Sue is not an example of a strong female character because she's not challenged at all. So how can her strength is never really put to the test in that regard? All right. I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say on that one. D.A. Bell has no comment. Let's move right into the announcements. You guys are going to make me bring it back up. We got to get these points out there. If we're going with physically, Thomas writes, if we're going with physically strong, then I'd have to say female characters are not interesting when they are only about their strength and not their character. And that's just it. It's like, is it a one-trick pony? Is that the only way to show strength? I feel like being able to just, it's like they're trying to just make the women the men, or just make women like men, and I feel like that's like the only way of showing strength, but that's not the only way of showing strength though. But I just feel, I'm not saying all, but I'm just saying it just seems to be like a common thing now, like there was that one, what was that one that just came out not that long ago? I already forgot. It was so forgettable. It was like this broad and she's fighting. It was a movie trailer and she's fighting, and it's like I think it was a medieval type of thing where it's like the chick is saving the prince or something like that. And it's like as soon as I heard Joan Jett start playing in the background, don't give a damn about my reputation. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Here we go. D.A. Bell writes, I can say watching women in Hollywood beat up, often bigger than them, men has become tiresome. It's just unrealistic for the most part. But I'm not to say that there can't be women that could beat up. Like there could be jacked broads out there. I don't know. I've seen some pretty jacked broads, and wouldn't be surprised. With some training, MMA training, woman's weight training, and she's does like mixed martial arts or something like that. Yeah, she could probably like kick a dude's ass. Like if some like average guy, never really trained much in his life, he's a basement dweller or something like that. Yeah, she'd probably kick his ass. He survives off like Hot Pockets and energy drinks. Too much soy in his diet. She'll probably be able to take him down pretty easily. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying, where I'm coming at is like, do we need that? Like, what does that say about our culture? What does that say about our current state of affairs? I don't know. I feel like it kind of does an injustice to women, in a way. Like, what happened to femininity? You know what I mean? It's like femininity is powerful in its own way, I feel like. And I feel like when these female characters are being masculinized effectively, like it kind of takes away from their, like it's kind of like denying them their femininity in a way. It's like saying you have to act like the men in order to be accepted, in order to be, in order for that to be like good representation of strong female character, I just feel like can't there be another way? Can't it be different? Like women can show strength. Women can be just as strong as men, but just in a different way. Like in their own way. Yeah. Announcements. All right. Speaking of representation and stories, you guys want to write your own story with some good female representation? Well, you're in luck because the Storyteller Society is still accepting submissions. Storyteller Society is a project that I launched earlier last year. This is open submissions. So this is a public collaboration project. This is like just an artist, peer-to-peer, business-to-business type of project that I have here. I run it through my blog. What I'm looking for is flash fiction. So for this project, that's flash fiction between 500 to 2,000 words, and it can be any genre. I added a little drop-down menu on the submission form, so you can kind of let me know kind of how you would categorize the work. And this is a non-exclusive. Agreement or non-exclusive deal. So all you're doing is you're just agreeing to the terms of service, and that's it. This can actually be work that you have published elsewhere, whether it be in an anthology or maybe you have something from your own blog or what have you, so long as you own the copyright and you are able to give me permission to republish it on my blog, free for public viewing. Okay. So that's there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, DA. Where's the creativity? We don't need Men 2.0, or Men 0.5 beta version. All right. We already have people for that. Jeff Kerr shares a link. This is for the thrills and chills, folks. The thrills and chills says free, but not thrill free. This is books you can't put down. Let's check this out. This is Jeff Kerr shares some books you can't put down via Book Funnel. No stranger to the Book Funnel. I haven't done anything with Book Funnel yet, but I know this is like a thing where like a bunch of authors get together. They put together like basically like a deals. It's almost like I want to say like almost like a newsletter type deal or something like that. I don't know. They'll put like anchor books and stuff like that on there, free to download. It's something fun. You know, another way to get involved with indies, I suppose. Let's check it out. So books you can't put down, free books. If you like scary stories, let's see, listen to the Maniac on the Loose Scary Stories podcast for free. New episodes every week. And there's the website. Let's check out some of these titles that we have here. I want to get to Jeff's. I know Jeff has a book in here. We'll check that out. But just to kind of give you a quick preview of some of what we're working with here. So by thriller, it's not all horror. So it does look like there's some more like kind of like thrillers, suspense type stories in here. Some of these I've seen before, making the rounds on the Booktube and on Twitter. There's Jeff's book right there. Okay, so Jeff Kerr. So we'll click on this. It says, "One ordeal ends, another begins." You get your free copy of End of the Line. So I just imagine you click on this and you'll sign up for his newsletter and get yourself a free book. Just like that. No problem. No problem. Piece of cake. Let's see what else we have on here. Yeah, these book funnels, some of them are pretty cool. They usually have like some sort of theme or something. Like I said, I haven't looked into it yet, so I don't really know like how like you go about like getting your work included in one of these. But I imagine it's just a way of trying to like build up your email list. But I like featuring those. Fun little announcements. All right. If you guys, the easiest way to get your work on the show, though, eventually I would like to kind of like not have do less on social media and just go right directly to the source, and that is to join the Gilded or the Discord server. So I made the Gilded this year. Basically, this is like the one-stop shop and a direct line of connection between you and I. You join one of these group servers, and on the group server, there's all these different channels that I have set up for you guys to just share your links with me. There's no waiting around, waiting in line. Don't have to become a level 5 before you can interact or anything like that. You just jump right in there. And I don't expect you to check in daily or engage in small talk, what have you. If you literally just want to use this as a resource for sharing your material with me, your projects, what you're working on, what have you, things that I could then in turn bring onto the show. In other words, give me things to talk about during the show. This is a way of doing that and making it very easy on me because I like to set these shows up ahead of time. So on both of these group servers, there's a spot in there. There's all these different channels set up for like channels for you where you can share your book. You can share videos with me. You can share like like arts with me, like if you're doing drawing or even like handmade crafts or something like that. Like if you do crowdfunding campaigns, if you have your own blog, you want to share articles, essays, stories with me, like you can share the links with me to that. And if you do reading, if you're a reader and you have a book club that you're running, and maybe you're looking for more people to join your book club, you can share that info with me as well. So it's there. The links are always in the show notes down below, right from the get-go. And I had something coming in from the Gilded. And this is A.S. Brunert is sharing lore for his work in progress, the Tarnovan Wars, via Substack. So I thought this was interesting. So basically, what he's doing, he's using his Substack to just do just that, share lore about this work in progress that he has. I'm not sure if this is going to be a novel, a serialized project, or what. Maybe I can follow up with him on that. Let me just show you how he has it set up. So I was thinking about doing something similar. Let me go like this. I was thinking about doing something similar, not like this, but like having something where like setting up lore for like a separate project, like do like free to read lore on a project, and then the actual story is like either you buy the novel or it's like premium serialized or something like that. So we have this map here, and then let's see. And it looks like he's just kind of sharing news. So he does have what is this? So the Tarnovan Wars. Can I click on that? All right. All right, so here's a little something. It says, it has been 50 years since the young Prince Ivan II of Tarnovo was assassinated in his chambers. Though no proof was found, it has long been suspected that the heir to the throne's cousin, the now King Boril IV, was behind the deadly assault. The ever-paranoid king uses the Taruk Empire, the sworn enemy of the Tarnovan people, to enforce his laws. But through those 50 years, the Taruks slowly subverted the power of the king and replaced the aristocracy. Now Tarnovo is just another puppet state of the Empire of the East. All possible heirs to the throne were either forced to submit or were otherwise publicly executed in gruesome fashion. The few that did manage to escape punishment became strangers in their own land, not welcome in any place. One such exilee was a man by the name of Damian Ilari. Lord Damian VII was the former lord of Varna, the largest city in Tarnovo, before a failed assassination attempt drove him to hiding within the Vishka forests. From there, he has organized small instances of insurrection, though nothing has amounted to much. The series follows Nicola Rosa, a young man with a mysterious past and an uncertain future. Pursued by the law, he must join together with Elena, Vasilina, and his old friend, Alexei Petroslav, to avoid capture and see through the lies they have been told their entire lives. The cast of characters must soon come to realize that there is only one way for resistance to be possible. The truth must be known. Start a wiki. Well, here is a periodical. If you like to stay up to date with what's going on from week to week, you can subscribe to LFLR Weekly. That's right. It's a weekly periodical, my newsletter that I send out once a week, every Saturday. And that's right on the homepage at livefreeliverich.com. You can subscribe for free. All right, let's get into these last two segments here. I have a pretty long video that I'm going to be doing. Well, it's going to be a decent size, so it'll probably be about a half-hour segment. So I want to get into it. But first we have some reading time, and this is actually coming from the Discord, and I hear this is a Prison Break story. So a little bit of action for tonight. And this is what we have here. This is Progeny by Adidas Doge via Wattpad. So first, let's read this blurb here. So it looks like, this is ongoing and it is mature. So after being kidnapped and sent to a secretive facility in Arizona where all the inmates are children, a young boy named Luke hatches a plan to break out with the help of other children being held prisoner. However, their enemies are hot on their heels, and unexpected and uneasy alliances are formed as they try to escape. Along the way, they encounter a girl who was thought to be dead, but has returned with mysterious powers that seemingly every kid at the facility has. Can Luke and the other children break free, or will they meet their demise in their attempt? All right, let's jump right into it. Chapter 1. Luke Bevins was not a normal kid. He may seem normal at first glance, but a lot is going on under the hood. He was an average height boy with short blonde hair, and at the age of 14. But beneath all that, Luke is diagnosed with low latent inhibition, an extremely rare disorder that leaves the diagnosed person unable to block out periphery information and instead processes every aspect and detail of any given stimuli. He has an unusual talent for processing things extremely fast and a helpful ability to memorize things perfectly for a short period of time. For example, if you look at a clock, you might just see a normal clock. But people like Luke process the material that the clock is made out of. Every switch and every wire is thought through the mind of Luke. People with low latent inhibition and a high IQ almost always result in creative ingenuity. This was how he got the attention of a secret organization working in the shadows, hidden away from the public eye. 5 days ago, Luke had his 14th birthday. His mother, who knew about Luke's disorder from a psychological and IQ test when Luke was only 7, decided to let him have fun in an escape room that just had opened around her neighborhood some weeks ago. She had chosen the hardest room. Albeit it was the hardest room, Luke had beaten it in 3 minutes and 54 seconds. The previous record was just below half an hour. Unluckily for Luke, a government official that knew about the organization named the Cabal The cabal. Sick of it. There is a global cabal working together in these secret organizations, and I'm sick of it. Was there the same day, and when they heard about the new record, they started to dig around Luke's history. Luke's history showed perfect school test scores, and even more unluckily, Luke's psychological and IQ tests. In red ink at the bottom of the psychological test paper read low latent inhibition. From there, that organization started watching Luke, waiting for the perfect moment to kidnap him to a top secret facility for abnormal kids like him. That moment happened today. It was a normal day with Luke slowly getting out of bed and his mother hurried him up. Luke hurriedly ate his toast and eggs before his mother quickly packed his lunch. Being the age of 14, it might first seem abnormal that Luke didn't pack his own lunch, but his mother insisted. This was because when Luke was little, he had been distracted by a fly flying around his head. Luke didn't notice he had put a knife in between two slices of bread. As Luke put his shoes on to go to school, he was greeted with an unfamiliar sight. A black van was parked across the road where there was an abandoned warehouse. It's probably just a businessman or something, Luke thought. He finished putting his size 7.5 Nike sneakers, which laughably was the smallest size in the store that he got them from, on and walked down the steps of his house. And as he walked to school, he got a very disturbing feeling of being followed. Of course, this could just be the horror movie he watched last night, or his mind raced through the thousands of facts stored in his brain. It's just paranoia about another day of school. Statistically, 35% of students have paranoia as they are about to face another boring and dreaded day of school. Luke remembered reading about it in an article online. But when Luke turned around, just out of pure curiosity, he saw the black van parked across his road when he was putting his sneakers on, following him. Luke noticed about the van was that it was unmarked, no logo, no car plate, nothing, zilch. Luke tested the van by turning the wrong corner to school. The van followed. Luke tried to calm himself, saying that the van was probably just coincidentally going the same route as him. Then Luke did a U-turn. The van followed. And that was when Luke started to run. Luckily, Luke was pretty fast, and his great memory of his little suburbs map helped him heaps as he ran around corners. Sadly, Luke's choice of clothes was not helping him. Luke was wearing a dark yellow shirt, black shorts, and red school bag. The van continued to pursue Luke. What should I do? What should I do? Luke thought. If I stop, maybe I can ask them why they are following me. Luke stopped on the sidewalk of an unpopular dairy. The owner was always telling the kids to stop hanging around the front and usually just being impolite. Luke personally didn't really mind the owner, thinking that the owner is just another man trying to run his business. The black van rolled to a stop beside Luke. Hey, can I, Luke began. Get in, kid. The driver pulled out a Glock 17 and aimed it at Luke's chest. 9mm, Luke thought. No fear, huh? 9mm, Luke thought, sometimes wishing that his brain would stop spouting stupid facts whenever he was in a jam. The driver was wearing very, very black sunglasses. Very, very black sunglasses. This is burning my eyes. You couldn't see what he was looking at, but judging from the angle of the man's head, he was probably looking directly at Luke. Very, very black sunglasses. Luke subconsciously puts up his hands as you would if you had a gun pointed at your chest. The man was wearing a black suit and a black tie. Even his hair was black. No more colors anymore. I want them painted black. The only piece of clothing that was not black was his shirt underneath the suit. Luke's kidnapper motioned to Luke with the gun to enter his van. Luke obeyed. Inside the van was surprisingly clean. There wasn't any trash of any kind lying around, and no seatbelts were scuffed or anything. Nylon, Luke thought. Nylon was the material that seatbelts are made out of. Luke entered the passenger seat. Now, normally I would say that, there's a lot of unnecessary details coming in here, but I understand because of the character's condition that I don't know. I'm kind of crossed between it. It's a little bit of a cop out, but at the same time, it is explained. Where are Luke struggled to get his words out of his mouth. Not one more word during this ride, or your seat will be coated with your brain. Luke's kidnapper put a dark bag over Luke's head and turned back around in his seat to drive. Luke gulped and was silent. He tried to memorize all the turns and counted the seconds. During the journey, Luke realized that the fact that the man didn't cuff his hand was weird, as a normal kidnapper would usually bound the feet and wrists together to further minimize the probability of escape. Could this mean that the kidnapper isn't scared of me running away? Luke thought. In the distance, a plume of smoke appeared in the sky, frighteningly close to where Luke's house. The van stopped only twice on the journey. Luke guessed that it was for his kidnapper to empty out his bladder and refuel. When the van rolled to a stop with a loud crunch of gravel beneath the van's wheels, Luke calculated that he was approximately 150 miles away from his home. It was also cold. When the kidnapper took off Luke's bag that was covering his head, Luke saw that he was in the middle of a clearing inside a forest. Tall pine trees surround the clearing where a huge building was situated. There was a car park a few feet away from the entrance of the building, where there were the exact same black vans as Luke's kidnapper had. The man with the dark glasses opened the driver's door, got out, and opened the passenger door where Luke was sitting. He grabbed Luke by the arm and dragged him out of the van. All the while, Luke tried to fight back. The man threw Luke to the ground, and Luke finally had a full-size view of his kidnapper. Firstly, Luke noticed that there was a name tag pinned on the man's suit. The name tag read Jeff. Secondly, Luke noticed that Jeff was tall, around 6'10". That's very tall. Lastly, Luke noticed Jeff was smiling for the first time. Don't lie there all day. Get up and go to that building. Jeff stuck his thumb over his shoulder, indicating to Luke to walk and enter the huge building. Luke obeyed, but suddenly a loud gunshot and a brief yell of "Hurry up!" made him run towards the building. He reached the front door of the building and noticed a sign engraved on a piece of metal that was nailed to the set of double doors of the front entrance. It read, "Progeny of average intermediate nurturers. Pain," Luke thought, very ironic. Another shot rang out. Luke entered the building. He was hit with the sudden blast of heat and comfort and looked around, extracting all the information with his eyes given to him. There wasn't much to extract. There was just plain brick wall and a floor with a soft gray carpet. But after Luke knelt down to feel the carpet, he could feel that it was wolf fur. And when Luke neared the bricks on the walls, he could see that the bricks had dents and many little holes in them than usual. many more little holes in them than usual. Luke deducted that his room, or even this entire building, was extremely old. "Welcome," a voice behind him said. Luke jumped a meter and quickly whirled around. Behind him was a middle-aged woman in heels with a binder in her arms. Her name tag read Jess. "Follow me," she said to Luke, turning around on her heels and started to walk. Not knowing what to do, Luke followed. Jess walked down to the end of the corridor where there was only one door at the end. Jess opened it and waved Luke in. What Luke saw was similar to a prison. There was individual cells that could house 1 or 2 people. All the people were wearing orange t-shirts and pants. Currently, they were all out of their cells. But what was strange was that all the prisoners were children. A black boy who looked around 15 with a buzz cut and a crooked nose walked up to Luke and held out his hand. "I'm Will Hogson," the black boy said. Luke shook Will's hand, but immediately Will twisted Luke's arm and Luke cried out in pain. "Will, let go of the boy immediately or you will be taken to the leave tomorrow," Jess said. Oh, that was the chick. with an authoritative voice. Well, there you go. Will let go without pause. All the other children were crowded around Luke and Will, but some left when Jesse mentioned the leave. "Sorry, man," Will apologized. "It's okay, I guess." Luke looked at the ground. "All right," Jess said with an icy stare at Will. Since Will was so happy to see a newcomer, he can show him where his cell is, which is the only empty one in Jen's cells. Will nodded his head and signaled Luke to follow him. Luke obeyed. They went up a staircase to arrive next to a relatively clean cell with a bunk bed, new blankets, and new pillows. A sink was on the right wall with a cup, toothbrush, and toothpaste neatly arranged. A window was built into the wall opposite Luke, but it had been guarded up by steel mesh. There was a clock on the left wall. "This is where you'll be staying. You're lucky, you know. You don't have any cellmates yet. The toilets are right there." Will pointed down towards the corner of the room of cells. There were 2 doors, marked respectively with a girl icon and a boy icon. Next to the toilets was another door, red. "That's the door that goes to the hallway that leads to the showers." Will nodded at Luke and then turned to leave. "Wait," Luke called after him. "Yeah, what?" Will turned around and faced Luke. "They kidnapped me. Will my mother know?" Luke asked, hoping for the best. Will looked uneasy, as if he were trying to decide whether or not it would be better to tell Luke the truth or cover it up. He decided to tell the truth. "No, man, they killed your parents, while whoever your kidnapper was driving you here. It always happens." "Jesus!" Freaking cold-blooded. The answer hit Luke like a ton of bricks, and he couldn't breathe or move for a couple seconds. No. Luke started to punch the mattress of the bottom bed in his cell. Will couldn't see a kid like this, even after countless times seeing similar things, so he left Luke by himself. Well, parents are dead. He's in jail. He willingly got kidnapped. All right. What is a regular prison break story? I'm not very familiar with the subgenre. I'm assuming it involves a prison break. It's just he's in there. Now that he's in there, I'm assuming at some point in the story he's going to be trying to get out. All right, and that is the reading time. If you guys have something that you'd like me to read live on the air, just share a link with me. It can come from your blog, it can come from your Wattpad, Medium, Substack, what have you. So long as I have free access to it, I'll be willing to read it live on the air, whether it be like a first chapter, it could be poetry, an essay, an editorial, what have you, flash fiction. And mind you, you guys have my permission. If you want to download these episodes, you're free to download any of these shows, and you can clip them however you want. You can edit them however you want for your own marketing and advertising purposes. All right, you guys? Let's move right into the final segment here. We're get into some featured media. And I have a book tag video to do. Let's see. All right. Should be 5. Okay, so we have mentioned here. So I was mentioned by Nicole's Bookish Nook on her video, Metal on Rock Songs book tag for 2023. It's a new year, new book tag, apparently. And this comes courtesy of her YouTube channel, Nicole's Bookish Nook, via YouTube. YouTube channel via YouTube. Okay.
Buttercups, today's second original book tag in the metal rock book tag sphere is Metal on Rock Songs. Am I totally original? Not so much, but I do want to have this vibe that the rock songs in this particular tag will be front and center, but we're gonna have some metal songs as well. Now, I was listening to Sick Boys by Social Distortion, and it was on replay. It was like the 6th time because I just love me some Social Distortion. And then I was like, wait, this is a great question that I can create a whole other rock metal tag with. So it's actually the first question in this tag video. And then I was like, wait, I know that Adam Rodriguez, I'm sure he's gonna watch, also because I tagged him, so he's gonna watch anyway. Shout out to Adam. He really enjoyed the first tag. He and I met because he was searching for book tags with metal or rock themed questions. Adam and I were on the same page, so we're going to jump right in. First question, Sick Boys by Social Distortion. A book you've read about a sick boy or girl, and that can be mental, emotional, or physical. And so the book I chose is going to be Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Alex Stern is not well, as an understatement, emotionally and mentally, though she handles it okay, but there is some drug use involved. And it's kind of like up in the air. Is it for fun, or are you trying to push down your feelings, Alex? That can be a conversation. But she is not very well. She grew up in a very difficult childhood, very traumatic childhood, and she can also see ghosts, and that's not fun. Number 2.
Oh, the ghosts. The sixth sense, if you will. All right. I have for my first one. So I have to do, it's a book that has a character that is ill, whether it be physically or mentally or something like that. And I decided to go with a classic. It's been years since I've read it, but I have read it nonetheless. And that is an oldie but a goodie. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's right. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. Basically, in this book, I mean, there's like, it deals with a lot of different themes, really. But one of the themes, like, what does it mean to be considered mentally ill? It's funny because it's kind of like it was controversial in a way because the narrative kind of observes the psychological institutions through a critical lens, and sometimes it was funny to see like how like the orderlies are basically just as nutty as the friggin' the people in there. So that's what I went with. And there's a difficult one, but we're just getting started.
It's Been the Worst Day Since Yesterday by Flogging Molly. The most depressing book you've ever read so far. Because there are a lot of depressing books out there. And I'm going to go with Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I read that book and I'm like, wait, I don't want to finish it because I'm depressed right now. That book is so dark and depressing, and I've read other dark books, but like at least it's slightly amusing or interesting or fascinating.
Did you
or at least
DNF
like
it?
one or two of the characters or something. I don't care. I did not care. So I stopped like halfway, and I don't think I'm gonna finish it. It's just too sad. And I think personally for no reason whatsoever. Number 3.
All right. So a book that I found very depressing, or the most depressing book so far. Well, I mean, I haven't read. I mean, there are a few different books that I could have chosen, but I want to keep it, keep it somewhat fresh. And I don't think that I've used this example yet for anything else. So, so basically, just to preface it, well, for those of you you've already seen. So imagine a world. Let me make sure I got it going on here. Let me go like this. All right. So imagine a world filled with deliberate misinformation, propaganda, and an overall feeling of isolation, where all your socializing and sense of community is derived from hate-fueled rallies and rabble-rousing, where war is your only means of forming camaraderie, and fostering the idea of love will get you reprimanded at best. Now, you may be thinking to yourself that I'm describing any given day spent on Twitter, but I'm actually talking about a time before Twitter and a novel by the name of 1984, written by George Orwell. Why is it the most depressing book I've read thus far? Well, not only does the world feel so suffocating, but also for its sheer lack of reprieve. Here's a quote. There will be no curiosity, no enjoyment of the process of life. All competing pleasures will be destroyed. But always, do not forget this, Winston. Always there will be the intoxication of power, constantly increasing and constantly growing subtler. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Need I say more?
In the Orchard by Tiger Army, a book you've read with a main plot or subplot regarding farming or flowers. And I chose The Wandering Goose by Heather Earnhardt. Now, I read this when I was at Heather's cute little hotel in the middle of nowhere for my birthday that we went and traveled to, my fiance and I, sat in a garden. And I thought it was really cute. Number 4, Night.
All right. So I would just say, Nicole, that is extremely specific. So I guess not too specific, the farm thing. But I do have to say you're killing me here with the specific details. But I think I have a book that I can use for this prompt without double dipping from a previous book tag, because I already mentioned Animal Farm. So I can't, in a previous book tag, and I don't want to double dip. So plus I just mentioned a novel by Orwell. So I'm digging deep, and this may be a bit of a stretch, but I'm going to go with Shadow Puppets. Shadow Puppets, Scarecrows of Minnow Ranch. This is an extreme horror indie novel. A little pulpy fun, if not a bit corny. If you know, you know, as far as that goes. Written by Carver Pike, who is pretty well recognized around the underground scene for his work in the splatter punk genre.
Nighttime Sky by Nick 13. Your favorite book, or least favorite book, about growing up in a city. And I'm going to choose Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. I'm not great about the pronunciation of the Stein or Steens.
9.
I need to do better on that. But he got me into poetry as a kid, and I know that it's not a book, but it's a poetry book. And there are some poems about city, and like the main poem Where the Sidewalk Ends is about, you know, where the sidewalks ends on Earth, but it's set in the city, so I'm gonna go with it because I literally can't find or think of a book set in the city, which is very weird, but that's what I got for you all. I'm doing my best. Again, it made these questions somewhat difficult, and I need to work on that, but it made me think, and I hope it makes you think too. Number
Yeah, definitely don't make it easy, but it does definitely make me think. I sat down and I think I came up with a pretty good one for this one. And hello, Herman, by the way, welcome. Just finishing up this book tag here, and we'll be wrapping things up. So this one, so I have to name, the prompt is name a book that takes place in a city, huh? Let's see. So I said it took me a minute, but I realized that this is probably the easiest prompt so far. So this is another novel that I haven't read in years, but it fits perfectly. And that's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. There's teenage boys coming of age in the city, but there's also gangs. There's class warfare. And to this day, the story continues to provoke relevant debate about the quality of living for urban youth. Actually, I heard that story is not allowed in some schools, that book. I read it. I read The Outsiders, I want to say I was in 8th grade when I first read The Outsiders.
5, Girlfriend in a Coma by the Smiths. A book you've read about the main character or side character in a coma or that has amnesia. And I literally, I made a boo-boo because the only one I could figure out is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare, and I read that in high school, and I barely remember what that was, and I'm just gonna go with it because there's not another book. Oh, why did I do this to myself? I don't really even like that book series anymore. It's The Mortal Instruments. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a young adult urban fantasy, and it was first a movie, which I actually liked, but people didn't, so it was just one movie, and then it turned into a TV show on like Freeform, ABC Family, whatever it was, and it did pretty well. I think it was 4 or 5 seasons. I didn't watch it because it just didn't work for me. And then there's just like some weird stuff, like really weird stuff that came out about the Mortal Instruments and it being like Harry Potter fan fiction or whatever. But then there's also the whole thing with incest. And as a 15-year-old, you don't necessarily know like the weirdness of books. But then, you know, when you grow up, you're like, wait, why are Jace and Clary like still
what's the deal
flirting or whatever when they think that they're like siblings, but and then it turns out that they're not. But really, Cassandra, this is a young adult book. Get it together, please. I rather it just like stay right for Harry Potter fanfic.
Yeah, shame on you, Cassandra.
Versus what you did, but I digress. I don't own those books anymore. Number 6.
They always what is it with these some of these women authors. They always got to touch the forbidden love, huh? They always like to explore that. Very rarely. I don't think I've ever had any male authors. I've like read their books and like there's just randomly some. Actually, no, I can't say that. I have read. I just recently actually there was a whole thing. It was a running gag about cousins. It wasn't brother sister. It was cousins. Okay, maybe once removed. All right, let's see what I got. I have, so I had to do this is a story that has a character in a coma. It's very specific. Not an easy thing to do. All these, by doing these book tags, what I'm realizing is that I really have not read that much of a variety of books as I thought I have. So maybe I need to start expanding my horizons just a little bit. You know, some of these tags are pretty difficult. I really want to try to come up with something fresh for each one. So what did I go with? I had to, I think I kind of, I copped out a little bit. And the best I can do for this one is The Briar Rose, a.k.a. Sleeping Beauty by the Brothers Grimm. Yes, we're going fairy tales here. Yeah, that's the best I could do. It's the fairy tale that the Sleeping Beauty is based on. But in the story, the princess is quote unquote sleeping for 100 years. So suffice to say, that's far from being considered a catnap for sure. So I think that counts as being in a coma, technically speaking.
Walk by Pantera, a book with a very angry main character that also made you angry. And I'm going to go with Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I'm bad at names and words. I apologize, JD. I'm just going to call you JD. That main character pissed me off. I gave it like 2 stars. 3. No, it was 2 stars. 2.5. But I didn't up it to 3 because he's so whiny and so angry. And I think, as I was actually talking to a friend about it, and she read it in high school and she liked it because you can relate a lot more because you're an angry, angsty teenager for the most part.
I thought it had
teens do and a lot don't, but I can see that argument. Absolutely. I read it when I was like 27 and I was like, this dude needs to shut up. I'm just saying. It hurt me so much. Never mind. Thank you. I finished the book, but it was not
jump cuts.
It could have worked when I was younger, but I was not assigned that book in high school, and she was, so I lucked out, I guess. I don't know. Number 7.
Yeah. I thought that Catcher in the Rye had some funny moments. I think I rated it 2 stars though. It was just okay for me. I think it was kind of hyped. I think I did. I don't recall. It's been a while. But I'm actually going to go with another indie book. And I'm simply going to go with a book. This is kind of a splatter western, if you will. It's called Gage Black, Hell's Revenge. Some more pulpy fun. It says they sent him to hell. And hell sent him back. Is by Mark Justice. The reason why is a very angry character for good reason. He is angry. He's angry for good reason. He was He was basically wrongly imprisoned. The character is wrongly imprisoned, and he doesn't just go to like any old prison. He goes to a prison literally named Hell. Hence why he went to Hell. But Hell sent him back. And he went on a quest to exact his revenge, like a classic Western style, except the story goes off the rails. I was kind of sympathizing with the character for the most part in this story. I was sympathizing with the character, even on his, when he started to go on his little revenge spree at the end there. But then at the very, very end of the story, the character goes completely off the rails and becomes an absolute raving lunatic, and does some pretty disgusting and heinous things for seemingly no freaking reason whatsoever. Just like goes completely dastardly at the end of the novel. And that didn't really sit well with me. But it did make for a memorable ending, though.
Du Hast by, wait, I'm going to try and get it. Ramstein.
9.
I'm German too. I should maybe like
9.
know a little bit, but I don't. I barely know English. Hello. What do you all expect from me? Okay, a book you've loved or hated that has a wedding scene. And I chose Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. That book series is fantastic. And the movie, oh my God, I loved it. It's so cute. It's really cute. I suggest reading the series and watching the movie as well. And I'm waiting for movies 2 and 3. I don't know where they are, but I need them in my life. Number 8. Johnny, I Hardly Knew Ya.
All right. A book with a wedding in it? I'm double dipping. Briar Rose. Look, Nicole, you got to give me a break. I don't read romances. I don't read books that have weddings in them. It's very rare that I have that. So I had double dip. Does it count? It doesn't count as double dipping if I gotta. It's more like 2 for the price of 1. I'm not really double dipping because it was in this tag, right? You let this one slide. Come on. I'll give you the double dip on this one. It's more like 2 for the price of 1, I think. It counts as both. This one book counts as both the coma example and this one. So we got number 7. Because I did forget to bring up the fact that there's actually a prince who ends up marrying the Briar Rose, okay, aka the fairest maiden in the land, aka a straight dime piece, if you will. And in the story, it explicitly states that the couple lived happily ever after. All right. I mean, what more can I say?
By Dropkick Murphys, a book that is known to have an anti-war stance. I'm going to go with The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. This is one of the few books that was assigned to us in high school that, other than William Shakespeare, that I actually enjoyed. And it's very compelling. It's dark. It's violent. It's about the Vietnam War. Don't know what you expect, but I guess going in, expect horrible situations and scenes that Tim O'Brien recounts, because it's I don't know, is it technically nonfiction or is it fiction? It's like a blend of the two, and there's a good scene, at least in the edition that I have, where at the end he goes back to Vietnam and he walks around the areas that he was.
Is it like a historical fiction?
Or at least can remember where he's at, and it's very healing, but also very sad, and I think very poignant. And that was probably one of the first books that was anti-war that I read in high school or middle school, just like any school, until college. But I really enjoyed it. It was fascinating, and he's a great writer. Number 9.
An anti-war book. That doesn't even sound like it's anything that I would be in my, that I would even pick up. You know what I mean? So I really had to get creative with this one, Nicole. I really had to get creative with this one. So obviously I can't do The Art of War, right? Because that's like the exact opposite of what you're asking for in this prompt. I need to, it's supposed to be a book that has an anti-war message, right? And that's definitely not what The Art of War is. However, The Art of War is not about glorifying warfare, really. The Art of War, so on just a little blurb here. So the oldest, most influential strategy text in existence, Sun Tzu's teaching on how to successfully respond to and handle situations of conflict, is a must-read for business leaders of today. But it does go into kind of the principles of warfare. Like people think that, like, war is just, it's just about like people like wanting to kill each other and this and that. That's not really what war is about. It's actually war in it and of itself is a very subtle thing. And sometimes war can be happening right underneath your nose and you not even realize it. So that's kind of what that's about. But that's not my example, though. But I just thought I'd bring that up. No, I had to get creative for my example. So the best anti-war book example that I could come up with from my own library would be How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yes, a good old classic, perhaps a little outdated for this day and age, because in this day and age, the way to win friends and influence people is to basically, look good in a bikini and have an Instagram account. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about anti-war. Well, why is it anti-war? Well, because it's about making friends, about making friends, not war, making love, not war, as far as that goes. It's the best I got. Yeah. Technically, it is an anti-war stance.
American Music by Violent Femmes. Your favorite American classic book. And I'm going to go with Animal Farm by George Orwell.
Oh, you read the Animal. You're going with Animal Farm this time.
That I enjoyed in high school when it was assigned to us. I like it also because it's not as big as the other books that we were assigned. It gets straight to the point, and it's very, very important, talking about communism and socialism. I'm not great with quotes or memorizing them, but the quote, all pigs are created equal, but some pigs are more equal than others. Yeah, that stuck with me. I think I got that right too. That's amazing if I did the quote right. I went out and bought Animal Farm, my own copy, after finishing that
it's a good book.
I don't think it was a semester. That whole section of Animal Farm, because it was so great. And I probably need to reread it. And I don't even reread books because there's so many out there that I want to read. But Animal Farm is that damn good. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but didn't you have the question? You had the question about a book with a farm on it. You could have used that one for the book with the farm. What'd you do with the book with the farm? Oh, you did something else. All right. So what was this one again? Oh yeah, Great American Classic. All right. So a great American classic. I brought this up. A favorite great American classic. Well, I'm not going to. The thing is, I'm not going to name my favorite classic this time around. I don't want to like repeat the same books over and over. So what I'm going to do is instead, this time around, I will mention an American classic that's on my reading list that has me anticipating greatness, and that's The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I will say that this is probably going to make a good summertime read. So I am looking forward to reading this one, and I probably will save it for summertime. And it says, and the blurb on the back says, and so with the sunshine and the great bursts of leaves growing on the trees, life was beginning over again with the summer. Great Gatsby.
Now, number 10, it's easy. Tag anyone and everyone that loves rock, metal, and books. And I'm going to tag the usual because I talked about him in the first section of this video. Adam Rodriguez, number 1. You better do it. I know you're going to do it.
So tag 3 people. All right. Thanks for that, Nicole. Thanks for sharing that with me. So I'll tag 3 people. But I'll tag. I have 3 people I'll tag. But the thing is, I wanted to. Last time it was kind of a dud. The people that I tagged, I don't think that they. I don't know what happened. Maybe they just didn't get it. Maybe they didn't want to do it. Maybe they didn't see it. Maybe YouTube didn't notify them. I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tag 3 people this time around that I think may actually give this a shot because for reasons. So first, I would like to tag Jake over at the Bookish Drummer. He plays the drums and he reads books. I think he's a perfect candidate for this tag. Secondly, I'll tag Mike's book reviews because not only has he read a lot of books, so I think one thing is the difficulty of the tag, like how specific some of the examples are. So I think it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see what he has to come up with for some of these examples if he does the tag. But plus, I know that he likes rock and metal because I've seen him rocking his Slayer t-shirt in some of his videos. And last but not least, I think Mers from Harpies in the Trees is ready to rock. And I think it would be interesting to see if she can make it through this whole tag, all right, and remain on brand. Because I know her YouTube channel is all about books with a supernatural focus. So it'd be interesting to see if she has an example of like a book for each one of these prompts that kind of falls in that category. I think that would be pretty tough. But that's it. That's who I tag. And that is it for me this week, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to kind of wind it down now. And that is starting to close it down. Let's hit it with the Ford F-150 commercial music. I'm going to close it out for tonight. Yep. Well, that's the live stream. If you guys have a featured video, if you guys have a video that you'd like me to feature, it could be tag video like that, or it could be like a video essay. Preferably, you could be doing your own reading. You could do like a poetry reading or something like that. But other than that, I hope y'all had some fun. I hope you all discovered something new, but don't fret, because guess what? I will be back here for you. Next week, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 6 p.m. Pacific. Have a good week, ladies and gentlemen.